Folks, we have an enormous patch coming to Hearthstone tomorrow. Not only the promised rewards track changes, but enormous Battlegrounds update, tons of new stuff, balance changes for standard, and balance changes for duels. So we're going to break all of this down in this video, along with probably some follow-up videos discussing some of this in more detail. But let's start off here with the standard format balance changes, since I am a bit of a standard format guy myself. And first off, Demon Hunter getting nerfed. Thank God. Prayers are answered. Blade Dance going from 2 mana to 3 mana here. It's still going to be a good card at 3 mana. Soul Fragment Demon Hunter is still going to be awesome. This does limit how early and efficiently sometimes they can swing boards. You know, it makes it a little bit harder to fit in that twin slice, perhaps. Maybe they can't remove something here and there. So a significant change, not a, lethal change to Demon Hunter. It's not dead by any means, but this will slow them down a little bit. We've also got Shard Shatter Mystic here going from 3 mana to 4 mana. Same story. Less able to swing early game boards. This makes them a little bit more susceptible to an opponent getting a quick start. It's harder to squeeze this into the mid game along with something else, so it might make it harder for them to flip and stay alive. It just essentially reduces their survivability and efficiency, much like Blade Dance, which is great. It gives Soul Fragment Demon Hunter more weaknesses, essentially. We've also got Dreadlord's Bite here being changed to a 2/2 instead of a 3/2 weapon. And I think this is actually a really significant change. I don't know if a 2/2 weapon's good enough for 3 mana. I feel like Demon Hunter can do better things. Maybe they move back to Marrow Slicer for their weapon slot. I think this makes it weaker than Eldrazi Warblades in a lot of ways. Like, yes, of course, this is still more aggressive technically than Eldrazi for aggro Demon Hunter lists. But Eldrazi has that upside against other Demon Hunters, against aggressive Hunters, and any other fast deck that lifesteal matters a lot. So suddenly that equation doesn't add up. And I think you might actually just go back to Marrow Slicer at this stage as well, just because it's more total output in a single card than Dreadlord's Bite. Pretty significantly at this stage now that it's 8 damage versus 5 damage off the Dreadlords. And I don't think the AoE here is significant enough to make Dreadlords worth it. So this is a significant hit to the weakness of the strength of aggro Demon Hunter. It will be notably weaker, I think. Still a great deck. I don't think this kills it by any means, but slows it down a little. And I think Dreadlord's Bite might just fall off. I don't think this is good enough to make the cut anymore. Although, God knows Demon Hunter can make darn near anything work. We've also got Dino Tamer Brand here going to 8 mana. Pretty big deal, actually, because right now, Highlander Hunter, really good deck, and it's often playing Brand on 7 thanks to Lorekeeper Polkelt. Spoiler alert, also getting changed. So people are playing Brand on 7. Now they're going to have to wait until turn 8 to play Brand. That slows things down. You also can't, like Brand Hero Power on 9. You have to wait till turn 10. So delaying that really high pressure finisher or big board development with King Crush by a turn is a big deal to Highlander Hunter. Again, I think the deck remains playable, competitive, but notably weaker because of this. So we've also got Voracious Reader here going to 3 mana from 2 mana. So another shot here at aggro decks that are just dumping their hand and using Voracious Reader as a reload. Things like aggro Demon Hunter gets a little worse. That said, I don't really know if this changes the play style or impact of Voracious Reader all that much. I think often you're like playing this when you didn't have anything else to do anyway, and you're on your last card. You may have floated a mana or 2 anyway. It's not like this is getting played on turn 2, for instance. This is coming down like turn 5 or turn 6, and there's nothing else to do. So I think only rarely will this impact what would have happened in that turn anyway. I think a bigger, more significant nerf to this would have been like the amount of cards it drew, for instance. Like a 2 mana 1/3 that draws 2 cards would have been way more impactful than just pushing this to 3 mana. So I think Voracious Reader actually stays pretty competitive at the 3 mana slot. Of course, there's that occasional moment where they can't play the 1-drop alongside it and their hand's a little bit harder to empty. So it's a negative. It's a little bit worse, but I think it's still a really strong card and will be played. But small incremental hits to powerful aggro decks is what we need, so I'm still happy to see that one. And then finally here, Lorekeeper Polkelt going to 5 mana instead of 4 mana. Same story, really, just slowing everything down by a turn. Right now, this is being played most commonly in Highlander Hunter, so another nerf there. I've seen this in some Demon Hunter lists. and of course other things popping in here and there as well. I don't think this changes the function of the card very much again though, so I'm sure he'll remain competitively viable. For Highlander Hunter in particular, you're trying to get that King Crush mostly by turn 7. The one thing this does change a little bit is if you played this on 4 in the past, you would draw your Bran on turn 5, and then you draw your Dragonbane on turn 6, and it'd be ready to go on turn 6 because it's a 4-drop and you want a hero power with it, right? Now this means that you draw your Bran on 6 and your Dragonbane on 7. So it's a little bit weird floating that mana on 7 for the Dragonbane if lists stay the same. Bran's now going to 8, so that's doesn't really change much there. But the Dragonbane's just like a little more awkward than it used to be. So some small little, curve impacts there essentially for Polkelt. And again, a little bit worse, but still I think a competitively viable card for sure. Okay, so we've also got some Duels balance updates here. Number one, I'm really, really excited to see this. The requirements for unlocking hero powers for Duels have been reduced. So for hero power number 2, it goes from 10 to 5 epic cards. For signature treasure number 2, it's still 90 unique Darkmoon Faire cards instead of 100. It's pretty minor change, but hey, it helps. And then for the signature treasure number 3, it's Skullman's Academy epic cards reduced from 20 to 15. I mean, again, it helps. It's still too much. I don't think they should be blocked at all, but hey, it helps, so I'll take it. Also, we've got changes to some cards for Duels here. I'll tease you. So this is pretty good news. Number one, and not most important, is the Mage Hero Power Secret Studies getting reduced to 1 mana. That's a big deal. This was really expensive to play at 2. I felt like it was just, that's 5 mana to draw the secret and play it. That's too slow for Duels. 1 definitely helps. You can play this much easier, like slot it into a turn now and still keep moving through those secrets. We've also got Killmox here getting nerfed. Basically, his buff here has been cut in half. So instead of +2, +2, +1, +1, that's really going to change the scaling, right? Often we'd see Killmox as like a 15-15, and that's just so big, maybe even bigger than that, right? 19-19, 21-21. And now instead of a 15-15, Killmox is going to be what, like a 9-9? That's more manageable in Duels. Like, there's a lot of things that can deal with a 9-9 in Duels. So, fantastic change there. I'm surprised the buff is what got changed. I thought the lifesteal aspect was maybe too much, but hey, it's a nerf. That's a good thing. We've also got Moarg Outcast here going from 3 to 4 mana. That's cool. I thought this was a little bit scary of a card. Could create some big swing turns, so making it more expensive. Slows Demon Hunter down significantly, particularly when they're trying to play really fast. They need to get those swing turns quicker. We've got Gift of the Legion going to 3 mana. This is nice because it's going to prevent some of those infinite loops you see with Gift of the Legion. If your opponent discounts it multiple times, gets it to 0 mana, they can just infinite loop and OTK you, basically. That was a big problem, so important change there. We've also got some buffs here to some unused signature treasures as far as I've seen. The Herding Horn for Druid, I bet you didn't know this was a thing, is going from 5 mana to 4 mana. I still don't really think this is a great card. It's just weird and awkward in Duels to invest your mana up front and then get the payoff way down the road. I don't think that works particularly well in Duels. You've also got Droco Mechanicus going from 5 mana to 4 mana. And this does help. I mean, 4 mana 4/6 feels better to play for sure. And with the Death Rattle synergies, Menagerie synergies, discounts, it all just kind of fits together better. You're drawing these things. Maybe they're a little bit easier to play on curve. You get a bigger minion, right? It all fits in just a little bit tidier. It dies sooner than if it's at 5 mana because you're playing it sooner. So the Death Rattle pays off faster. That's a big deal. Is it enough to make this the go-to signature treasure for Paladin? Frankly, I don't know because nobody plays Paladin. But I like changes like this. It's good to see cards like this one getting buffed. All right, so you've already heard about the rewards update. Of course, there's going to be a link to this down in the description below, but a ton of details here on the rewards update if you didn't see them before. That said, we'll also go back and check out all the new Battlegrounds stuff. I will be covering this in another follow-up video in more detail, talking about each of these cards, but here's the overview. There are going to be new Darkmoon prizes in Battlegrounds. Essentially, this is a system where every 4 turns in the game, you're going to be offered 3 options to discover one of a spell that does something. You can see them here on screen. These are kind of small, so let me zoom in a bit. Probably should have done that anyway. But essentially, little buffs or little economy manipulations. So these are the ones you get offered on turn 4. These are the ones you get offered on turn 8, turn 12. There's cards like Ice Block. And then turn 16, cards like Argent Braggart, which of course is insane in Battlegrounds. All of these are options that you get offered. You'll just get 3 random ones, so definitely can change how Battlegrounds unfolds. So we've also got new heroes for Battlegrounds. Cthulhu, who has a 2 gold hero power that's going to give a friendly minion +1/+1, and that's going to repeat. Each time you use this, it's going to increment the amount of times it repeats. So if you use this 10 times, it's going to give a friendly minion +1/+1 10 times. So early in the fight, this may not be super exciting, but if you commit to it late in the game, it could be some pretty big buffs for 2 gold. We've also got N'Zoth, who's going to start with a little fish, and that fish is a 1/1 that's going to gain death rattles of your other friendly minions as they die. So if you have Spawn and N'Zoth die, when the fish dies, it's going to have the same death rattle Spawn and N'Zoth and every other death rattle minion that you've had die throughout the course of a fight, which you can clearly see stacking up into some like crazy board summons and buffs and divine shield giving and so on and so forth. You've also got Yasharaj here, who has another 2 gold active hero power. And at the start of combat, it's going to add a minion from your tavern tier to your warband, and you're going to keep that minion. So basically, if you have an open slot, you hit this button. At the start of the fight, it's going to summon something randomly. You get a Cave Hydra, whatever, right? And then you get to keep that minion. So basically, you spend kind of 1 gold to fill in your warband a little bit. Occasionally, you discover something or you find something awesome that fits perfectly, and you're super happy. Other times, you get some random garbage that you can't use at all. So I'm not in love with this hero power. I feel like it's not going to be very reliable. You're going to get a lot of junk a lot of the times, and basically paying kind of a 1 gold tax to do that. But in the early game, you can see how this could definitely help you fill in the gaps, basically. Something like your 5 gold turn. This is particularly efficient. You buy, you hit the button. You're still getting something tier 2. You're doing it very gold efficiently. So there will be moments where this feels solid. I just don't think on average this is going to scale all that well. We've also got changes here to current heroes and some people being removed. Galakron's out. Sir Finley's back. Great Akazamzarak has returned. And we got another secret added, so you can't cheese him anymore. Silas is going to increase his ability to get tickets, making him a little bit better. Zephyrus' hero power is going from 4 mana to 3. Of course, that's a significant upgrade. I don't know why these are listed as mana instead of gold, but I think we get the idea. Patches the Pirate is going to go from 4 to 3 as well. I like that a lot because it's hard to play Patches sometimes. It feels like you just can't quite get there, and requiring 1 less minion's a big deal to get that 0 mana Pirate that feels good. We've also got a bunch of new minions added to Battlegrounds. I'm not going to talk about all of these in great detail, but essentially some cool things like taunt synergies. This is a great like tier 1 taunt minion. This is another cool tier 1 or tier 2, taunt minion that's got some neat buff upside in combat at least. You've got yourself some Death Rattle economy plays, the Warden of Old, that's so cool. Another taunt synergy card here with Arm of the Empire. So it's almost like taunt is its own kind of mini new minion type or archetype in this case. You got the Big Fernal, which is a fantastic name. That's going to be a nice little demon buff option here. That's differently scaling and I think more efficient in many ways than Floating Watcher, where you aren't demanding damaging yourself. So you can do this without Wrathweavers, for instance. Karaji Harbinger is another taunt synergy card, which is cool. Champion of Yasharaj is a big taunt scaling card. Faceless Tavern Goer is a really cool card. It's this kind of like flex card. Can help you find like triples more reliably. You just sort of buy this anytime you think you might want to triple. And then if you have like a brand on board, if you see a brand in the shop, boom, this becomes your second brand. The brand in the shop becomes your third one. That's amazing. Or if you just want some really key unit, you can play this anytime too. We've also got Mithrax the Unraveler, a Menagerie follow-up card. It's not a Menagerie card itself, but basically it's kind of like a reverse Light Fang, where it's gaining everything itself, as opposed to Light Fang kind of dispersing all the buffs, which is kind of cool. Of course, you could use both together as well. And then also Elistra the Immortal, a new crazy tier 6 minion, Divine Shield, Reborn, taunt synergy. Whenever a friendly taunt minion is attacked, this gets attacked instead. So basically a really annoying minion to push through that's proccing all these other taunt synergy cards you might have as well. Really, really love the feel of this one. We've also got some changes to the minion pool. Righteous Protector gone, which is kind of a shame because it'd be sick with his taunt stuff, maybe too good. Beast gone. Thank God, I always hated that one. Crowd Favorite gone, and Shifter Xeris sadly gone from Battlegrounds. All right, and then finally we got some Winter Veil quests, which are totally worth it just to see the old gods wearing winter attire and having Christmas lights strung about their tentacles. That's pretty amazing. You get some packs, it looks like. Yippee, that's awesome. Book of Heroes Garrosh finally arriving. A lot of people wondered about that. Book of Heroes Uther also here coming along as well. That's pretty amazing. And finally, some bug changes and bug fixes and such. So all in all, a ginormous patch incoming to Battlegrounds and Standard and Duels and Rewards. So share all your thoughts on this one in the comments below. What do you think about the 19.2 patch? What are you excited to try, see, play, etc.? Thank you much for watching. And as always, until next time, game on.